Hello guys, and as I explained and gave you a promise that I will do explanation about the Simchat Torah, here you go. It's a Jewish holiday that celebrates and marks the conclusion of the annual cycle of the public Torah readings and the beginning of a new cycle. This holiday is a component of the biblical Jewish holiday of the 8th day of assembly, which follows immediately after the festival of Sukkot. You remember that I explained about Sukkot? In the month of September and October. On the Georgian calendar is used in most parts of the world. It went into effect in October of 1582, following the papal bull Inter Gravisium issued by Pope Gregory XVIII, which introduced it as a modification of replacement for the Julian calendar. The principal change was to space leap years. For those who don't know, is a calendar year that contains in additional days, or in the case of a lunar calendar, month, compared to a common year. The 366th day or 13th month is added to keep the calendar year synchronized with astronomical year or seasonal year, since events and seasons do not repeat in a whole number of days. Calendars having a constant number of days, which year will unavoidably drift over time with respect to the event that the year is supposed to track, such as seasons, by inserting an additional day, a leap day or month. In some years, the drift between the civilization dating system and the physical properties of the solar system can be corrected. The principal change was to space leap years slightly differently to make the average calendar year 365.2425 days long rather than the Julian calendar, which is 365.25 days, thus more closely approximately 365.2422 days, tropical or solar year, that is determined by the Earth's revolution around the sun. As we all know that the Earth is round. The moon is closer to Earth than the sun, unlucky for us. The rule for leap years is that every divisible by 4 is a leap year, except for years that are divisible by 100, except it turns 4 years also divisible by 400. For example, 1,800 and 1,900 were not leap years, but 1,600 and 2,000 were leap years. Although we live in the 21st century, but that's interesting, which is true. We do live in a century that 20 to 30 years from now, it will be talked about what happened uh, here in Israel and the world itself. And let's not forget, let's pause it for a second. Let's not forget that although here in Israel, not all of the hostages' bodies are 19, to be precise, 19 of the hostage bodies. And like I said, oh yeah, they definitely do know where they are. Obviously, they actually buried them. Narcissism. And put that on the side, and let's not forget one thing. Africa, in some parts in Africa, there's still a war going on there. Islamic control over there, doing exactly the same thing what they did here on October the 7th. Nobody's talking about that. What's going on there? The Nigerian actually begged to be talked about that. And they are right. Nobody's talking about it. I didn't see any blogger talk about what's going on in Africa or what's going the ongoing war, the ongoing war in Ukraine. It's like everything. It was like October the 7th is what's important. The world don't care. They don't care. I haven't forgotten when I said from October the 7th, stop the war now. I meant not only in Israel, and I meant worldwide. Stop it. Enough is enough. Control. For what? Over whom? The ego? Russia. What's going on there? He wants to go repeat the same mistake that you did before. He didn't. He didn't. Yeah. Move on. And how did I know? I met newcomers that live here in Israel for 3 years. To be precise, from Ukraine. Young people fled, just exactly like they did before. After the Nazi Party, they fled. Where did they go? To Israel. Simchat Torah's main celebration occurs in the synagogues during events services. In many Orthodox, as well as many conservative congregations, is the only time of year at which the Torah scrolls are taken out of the ark at night and are also read at night. In the morning, the last of Deuteronomy and the first phase of Genesis are read in the synagogue, on which occasions, when the ark is opened, the worshippers leave their seats and dance and sing with the Torah. That also means children too. Joyous celebration that lasts several hours. The morning services is also uniquely characterized by each member of the congregation being called up for an aliyah. There is also special occasions for children. It's celebrated during the late mid-September and the late mid-October. is immediately followed by the holiday of Simchat Eretz, which means in English, 8th day of assembly. It's celebrated on the second day of the Hebrew month, usually coinciding with late September or early October. It directly follows the festival of Sukkot, which is celebrated for 7 days. In Orthodox and conservative communities outside Israel, this holiday is a 2-day holiday, and the Simchat Torah festivals are observed on the second day. The first day is called Shemoneh Eretz, and the second day of the Simchat Torah. However, according to the tradition, both days are officially reflected in the liturgy, mainly Hasidic Orthodox communities of the foot. Joyful processions in the Judaism, in which congregations walk circles around the synagogue platform, especially on the Simchat Torah, while dancing with the synagogue's Torah scrolls during Sukkot, while waving the four species, performing the Hakafot tradition in Judaism, not only obligation, mandate of the Jewish law or the commandments given in the Tanakh itself, the Bible. Conservative Rabbi Reuven Hamil. However, in all communities outside of Israel, it's done on the first morning. This is my dog here. Say hi. Even outside of Israel, may do likewise. Many communities in Israel have the second Hakafot on the evening following the holiday, which is the same day as Simchat Torah, evening in the diaspora. The custom was started by the former chief rabbi of Tel Aviv, Rabbi Yedidia Frankel. Girl, I'm working. This holiday festivities begin with the evening services in all synagogues and Torah scrolls are removed from the ark and carried out in sanctuaries in series of events. Now I can have my coffee. The Messianic yearning and prayers for the restoration of the house of David and the temple in Jerusalem. Congregations may also sing other popular songs during the dancing. Children often receive flags and candy. Candy usually, what I remember, growing up in the 70s in Elmira, upstate New York, USA, I remember that for children, yes, they get the flag and an apple on top. Sweet candy. The vigor of the dancing and the degree of the merriment varies with the congregation temperament. In Orthodox synagogues, men and boys predominate the dancing. Children, even with young girls, may also dance with their fathers. Women and older girls often have dance circles, sometimes with the Torah scrolls, or look on from the other side of the partition in the ordinance with a belly of modesty. In conservation and progressive congregations, men and women dance together. In some, the Torah scrolls are carried out into the street, and the dancing may continue far into the evening. Some may do that. The majority in the cities, they don't do it. Only in the synagogues. Deuteronomy, the part read is usually 33, 1 to 34, 12. But this may vary by some individual synagogue customs, although it's never read into the end of the evening. The morning service, like that of other Jewish holidays, include a special holiday, Amidah, the saying of the Hallel prayer, recitation from Psalms 113 to 118. Passover. That's interesting. Oh, I think I know why. The commandments. On the first night and day in Israel, on Shavuot, all 7 days of Sukkot, and on the 8th day of Hanukkah. I'm shocked. I have no idea about this. It's new to me, just like to some of you. It's new to you. The sages have provided a way to remember the days when full Hallel is recited. It's called Bibitach. A blessing is recited at the beginning of the end of the full. That's interesting. All my research, there's some things I know, but some things I had no idea about. And a holiday Musaf service is a Jewish prayer service that is recited on the Sabbath Jewish holiday, Kol HaMoed, and Rosh HaKodesh. Head means head of the month, is a minor holiday observed at the beginning of every month in the Hebrew calendar, marked by the birth of the new moon. They believe when one holiday is done, the recycle of a new term of year is coming. Observed at the beginning of every month in the Hebrew calendar, like I said, marked by the birth of the new moon. Again, said that. This holiday, Rosh HaKodesh, is observed for either 1 or 2 days, depending on whether the previous month contained 29 or 30 days. The book of Exodus establishes the new moon of Nisan, which is the first month of spring, as the beginning of the Hebrew calendar. They go from spring to fall. It goes for a term like half a year of a term. And the Lord spoke to Moses and Aaron in the land of Egypt, saying, "This month shall mark for you the beginning of the months. It shall be the first of the months of the year for you." God speaks of the celebration of the new month to Moses. "And on your joyous occasions, you fixed festivals and new moon days, you shall sound the trumpets over your burnt offering and your sacrifices of well-being." Both new and full moon are mentioned as a time of recognition by the Hebrews. Blow the horn on the new moon, on the full moon for our feast day. In the Bible, Rosh HaKodesh is often referred to simple as the Hebrew word Kodesh can mean both month and new month. Declaring the month, Judaism uses and celebrated in connection with the day of the new moon. Originally, the day of Rosh Chodesh was confirmed on the testimony of witnesses observing the new moon in a procedure known as Sanctification of the moon. After the declared for a full 30 day of effective 39 month, news of it would then be communicated throughout Israel and in the diaspora. When the ark is open to take out the Torah for the Torah readings. And a taking place in the most eastern Ashkenaz European Jews community, one deviation from an otherwise ordinary holiday morning service and the performance of the priestly blessing as part of the Shacharit service before the celebrations connected with the Torah reading begin, whereas then as part of the Musaf service that follows. This practice harkens back an old custom for the Kiddush sponsored by the Hatan Torah to be held during the Simchat Torah service itself, where hard liquor along with other refreshments may be served, since the Bible prohibits descendants of Aaron, I wonder why, from performing the priestly blessings while intoxicated, and there is concern that that's why, men imbibe alcoholic beverages during the Simchat Torah festivals, and the blessing was moved to before the time when alcohol would be served. Some congregations deliver their blessing as usual during the Musaf service and the Simchat Torah. In some Western European communities and many communities in Israel, the Kohanim deliver their blessing at Shacharit and the Musaf services as at every festival. Torah reading and custom. After the Hakafot and the dancing of the Torah and reading, the last phrase of the Torah, Vizot Haber Bilka, at the end of the Deuterium Nomini, turn 33, 1 to 34, 12, is read from the first scroll, followed immediately by the first chapter and part of the second of the book of Genesis. 1, 2. It's a Jewish custom that a new beginning must immediately follow a completion. Therefore, reading in Genesis 1 immediately after finishing is logical. It's a special honor to receive the last aliyah of the book, and the person receiving Torah growth. Initially, the Torah completer. The term shifted in the medieval period and now signifies is a titled honoring by extension of this shift. The person who is called to begin Genesis is known as the Hatan Bereshit, which means in English Genesis groom. And in synagogues that allow women to receive an aliyah, The honorees are known as the Kalat Toa, Toa of the bride, and Kalat Bereshit, Genesis bride. According to historical custom, still practices in many congregations, these grooms are wealthy patrons in the synagogue who recognize the honor with special nudges. Modern Orthodox congregations generally choose Torah scholars instead. In many congregations, it's customary to call a eligible congregation member for an aliyah to the Torah and Simchat Torah. To accommodate this, the first 5 ayot, so that everyone has an opportunity to recite the blessing. To save time, some congregations call people up in groups. Others hold a series of separate minyan for the Torah reading. A minority of Orthodox congregations, women receive ayot in single gendered telephone groups known as prayer. Groups consisting only of women who pray together, and only men are called to the Torah in front of the whole congregation. I've seen it. Another custom is to call all the children in the Orthodox congregation, boys only, to a special aliyah called all the children. In many congregations, a large talit is spread out over the heads of the children as the blessing over the Torah is pronounced. The congregation blesses the children by reciting in Hebrew a verse from Jacob's blessing to Ephraim and Menashe in Genesis 48:16. May the angel who redeems me from all evil bless the children, and may my name be declared among them, and the names of my fathers Abraham and Isaac, and may they seem like fish for multitude within the land. Although the blessing of the children is omitted from 1985 edition of Conservation Judaism Sido Shalom, which means prayer book, it was reinstated in later versions. Most conservative congregations to reform it. After the portion of Genesis it's read from the third Torah scroll. The passage describes the prescribed offering reform for the holiday. The reading from the prophets is the first section of the book of Joshua. Remember when God gave to Moses by living from Exodus the commandments? Well, it is actually related. No, that was not the 10. There was a lot more than 10. No. It's related to the commandments, but indirectly it celebrates the completion of the Torah reading cycle.